Hey, hello, all you beautiful people, past, present, and yes, if those in the future, welcome back to another stream. And today, we're going to be doing more .hack.GU level grinding. Now, it's been about 4 months since I last did this, regrettably, mostly because of the holidays, and I've just had other things that I needed to take care of. But now, we're going to go right back into it. But before we do, there is something I'm going to bring back up. I just need to find the actual. Here we go. Let me see. And I know I had some music here. There you go. Hopefully it's not too loud, guys. Yeah, I turned the music down of .hack.GU mostly because I don't think you guys want to hear the dungeon music for 2 hours every time. So whatever music this is, which I'm sure it's something. Maybe I should give it to hear it myself. Oh, okay. I believe it's Ace Attorney music. Okay, so anyway, let's go ahead and continue with the level grinding. Now, we are currently, as you can probably see right up top there, we have about 15,000 experience left before this challenge is complete. A little under 5,000 battles, and we're about, what is it, 60 hours? Yeah, 60 hours into the challenge. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and continue. There we go. With the level grinding. Now, we discovered, I think it was like either last time we did this or the time before, that if we do the whole dungeon and use a return feather, we'll be saving a lot of time. Just trying to get to the warp area at the end of the dungeon. Because I think that is about maybe 30 or so seconds. 30 or so seconds, like each time we go to the beast statue warp. So by using the return feather, we can definitely save a lot of time doing that. So that way we can benefit from the full 33 experience of doing the entire dungeon, while also saving just a little bit of time exiting it. Boom! Also, we are now level 35, which means that we are now able to use a new weapon, the Spin Axe. Now, it doesn't have the second accessory slot, or an augment slot, but that is okay. That is perfectly fine, because, you know, well, just a little bit. I mean, it's still. I can't even talk. It's aesthetically different, and it kind of shows our progression. I think this might be the last weapon that we can get naturally, because in order to unlock like level 40, 45, 50 weapons, we need to progress the story enough so that way people can start carrying them around. And which kind of sucks, but at the same time, I'm glad we're at that point where we can progress through this just fine. And we've definitely come a long way in this challenge. And so, I've actually been thinking about how I want to do this. So, including this stream, there's going to be like 15 streams of doing this left, which is not a whole lot, but it will take quite a bit of effort to do that. So 15 times 2, so another 30 hours worth of level grinding. But so I'm thinking, like, my idea is that if I have some vacation time that I didn't use from work, so what I could do is I could take a week off. The days that we're not, the days that I'm normally not streaming, I will stream, and I'll probably end up streaming this game so that way I could get a couple more levels in. Probably 2 levels per stream. I can't do it tonight because I got work in the morning, but at the very least I can. Ooh, okay, that was cool. But yeah, anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, I can't really do 2 levels tonight, mostly because of work, but if I can take off for some vacation time and then kind of use that to be able to get ourselves some levels, then we'll be able to do this a lot faster. Hey Line, how's it going? I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome, welcome. Yes, I am really doing it, and we are level 35 right now. We've been doing this for about 60 hours already. And I took a break for the last 4 months, mostly because there's some other things I wanted to do. There were some other games I wanted to play, and plus, you know, you can easily get burned out from this, but we're only 15 levels left from finishing this challenge, and I am going to try to push through it. So, yeah, as I was saying before, I'm going to try to dedicate some time to trying to finish this. Like, maybe take a week off of work. Because I have plenty of vacation time, I could just go and... oops, wrong button. There we go. Return better. Yeah, I got some vacation time left, so if I can knock out 2 levels per stream, then we could definitely finish up within maybe 2 months, give or take. Or maybe even less than that, because, and I'll see what the community thinks, but we're doing 1 level today, then we've got about, I want to say 14 streams left. Let's see. Kai point of view when you're already at level 50. Yes. Like, so the story explanation as to why, you know, Haseo would be doing this is that, you know, he wants to get stronger. However, he doesn't want to encounter Kite just yet. So his safest option is to go to this introductory level challenge, because who's going to go spend 50 levels in this one dungeon? You know, to level up. And so Haseo, he's going to spend all this time trying to get this experience so that way he can knock out Kite in 1 hit, you know. And we do plan on finishing this, because I think that this could be a big moment for the Dot Hack community, you know. Now, I don't know how momentous it will actually be, like when we finish. Like, I definitely know I'll definitely be tired out, but my idea for this is that if enough people end up finding interest in this type of stream, I could do Reminisce and Redemption as well. And I think like those 2 games will make this much easier, because we will have access to the like the Heavy Blade, or excuse me, Edge Punisher sword. We will have access to speed augments, speed charms, and I think that it would just make this so much easier. And it'll probably cut the time probably in half, like all things considering. Because if I end up doing this like throughout like the 3 games, that's 150 levels in this first dungeon. I think, because I'm not the first one to do a challenge like this. We've seen people complete Kingdom Hearts within all 99 levels within Destiny 9s. We've seen Final Fantasy 7 in the reactor, not even just in the in the first reactor. Like someone even went to 1 to 99 in the first battle, or the first area where the battles take place. So it is very much possible that we can do this. However, it's going to be a long journey. And like we'll see what happens when we do end up finishing like this game's level grinding. But I don't know, I think we can do it. I think we can do it. We just need to actually sit down and actually we need to actually just sit down and do it, you know. This is amazing. Oh yes, Ty, this will be amazing. Like for the time being, it doesn't look like there's much going on, because there really isn't. Like, I would say a lot of the exciting things happened earlier in, like, this challenge when we were getting, like, 10, 20, 30 experience, and it felt like we were actually making progress, but Goon and Pie point of view, when they saw a person who doesn't look like he knows how to play somehow level 50. How? Well, I don't know, I gotta do the Haseo voice. Well, as it turns out, I didn't want to risk encountering Triage again, you know, in any other area, so I'm just going to stay in this one area. I'm going to kill 10,000 goblins and just go from there. Do not judge me. I know what I'm not doing. Yeah, so we've already done plenty of math with this. Like we are like we could get about 8 level every 2 hours, give or take. Like I have to take into account of ads and like the intro, you know, just kind of the setup and everything. And Like, we have been doing, like, progression markers, like, in terms of our weapons. Now, armor doesn't really mean anything because, one, we can't really take any damage, or at least anything significant. So we haven't been doing much with armor, but we've been using the weapons as a sort of progression marker. Right now, our final progression marker, sadly, it is the spin axe. Which, I mean, they do look good, and it is a nice change of pace from the spin piney that we were using. And honestly, now I think about it, I think Alcade starts with the spin piney. So for those Alcade, you know, Alcade people out there who like that character, you know, we're representing that character here tonight. I'm pretty sure that these are the blades that she starts out with. Excuse me. I mean, already we're about 15 minutes in, and we're already at 100 experience. So we're making some good progress here. Because it seems like, from what I have gathered, now this has changed over the course of like the streams. Like, initially we were doing full dungeon runs without the return feather because I didn't think about it at the time. Then we did half dungeon runs, which was a little bit faster, like maybe an extra half hour or so. But then we ended up doing this current run where we're doing like whole dungeon with return feather. Now, I will have to off screen get the return feathers from the trifle, or not the trifle shop, the medic union, but yeah, that's kind of how we're doing it now. What's your favorite AVA battle thing? Ooh, that is a good one. I am not entirely too sure. I mean, there's a lot of good tracks within this. There's a lot of good tracks to choose from. Like in terms of like this game specifically, I enjoy. I'm trying to remember the names of it. Speak of Inscription, Ovan's theme. Entrance's theme definitely has a lot of it definitely has a lot of motifs to, you know, Maha and like Elk's theme from IMOC. What else? Liar Smile from the Trilogy movie, that is actually really good. Let me see. What else? I do like the remakes of the Epitaph battles. You know what I'm talking about? Because like all the tracks for the Avatar battles are essentially remixes or remakes, which is very interesting. Like you can hear their motifs within the music itself, like the church bells, the way that the different like music comes together. Like it's different enough where you can't really tell at first, but when you actually pay attention to it, you will. That's it. She is a very good one. Everything in these hands, yes, that is also a fantastic theme. Both in the GU game version, yes. Let's see, what else? I know there's a lot more that I think about. You Smile Kindly and Gentle Hands. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, the main two themes of .hack GU. Like, both fantastic. Stairway to Time from Link, I would say, is pretty good too. I've grown to like Link a little bit better now that I'm playing it now as an adult with a full translation of the game. Not to say that it is better story-wise, because they are doing a lot of changes to the original story in order to add Tokyo in it, but gameplay-wise, and even some nice story moments between characters, I've grown to appreciate Link more as an anthology title. Like, I don't really consider that a good sequel to, like, the continuing story, but as a way to celebrate the .hack series as a whole, by showing all these different, you know, eras of .hack, I think it does what it needs to. Like, not to mention, I know a lot of people give .hack Link crap for the bad mini, or the tennis minigame, minigame for battling, but I don't know. I've grown to like that. It's hilarious, and it's stupid and hilarious, but there's just something rewarding about timing your shots and even getting that crosshair Geki, even though the crosshair Geki is you kind of mindless, you know. She helps me stay calm when playing another game. I can think faster and more precise. I'm losing because of a new team doesn't make me mad when I was calm. Yeah, she is, man, she is probably one of the best Avatar like tracks out there. Don't get me wrong, I do like Dark Infection. I do like let's see, I can't remember the names of all the tracks. Let's see, like Chains of Fate. That's what it's called. Yeah, Chains of Fate. You know, like, but the track is probably one of the best Avatar songs that come out because you could definitely hear Maha's theme from IMOC, but it makes you feel a sense of sorrow because it mixes in with Endrance's, you know, story, and you can feel like I don't know how to describe it, you know, hope and hopelessness. Yeah, I mean, yeah, like for Dark Infection, I agree with you. Hope and hopelessness are good words to describe Dark Infection because you can easily tell that it is the same theme but more corrupt in a way. Like, it is still, you know, the rebirth, Korvanik's theme, but you can definitely tell that there is a corruption within the track. Alpaca Man? Well, sorry, Tom, there's no alpacas in this game. You should have came to the Power World stream, or you probably did, because there were alpacas there, you know? We had an alpaca king somewhere roaming around helping out. Or if not, you know, there was alpacas there. But yeah, like GU has, not just GU, but the Doc Hack has always had some great views. Like even their just kind of like middle of the road tracks are still memorable enough to, you know, get a smile when you hear it. Dun dun dun. Okay, warp back to the gate. Whoa, 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 whoa. Boop. Alright. So, 150 experience. Not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah, Pine Cooner just kind of looking at Haseo. Man, he sure is taking a long time to, get ready. Should we say something? And then Pie's just, nah. Nah, but let's just let him do its thing. I do feel bad for all these goblins, though. Like, imagine getting hit with one attack that deals max damage, and on top of that, extra damage. You know, extra fire damage, no less. So, actually, that was one of the videos that I had, potential and, you know, making, was the element for this game. I guess using Endrance's profile. It's kind of hard to see on my screen, so I couldn't exactly see your profile pic too much, but if that's Endranced, oh, that's cool. I mean, I probably should have guessed it from the line name that you have for your username, but yeah, I mean, let's see. I guess using my Endranced profile kind of makes my account look like, oh no, you're fine. No, okay, everyone likes Endranced. Look, I would say, if you like Endranced, that's awesome. I think he's a great character. He's voiced by Liam O'Brien. I hope I said his name right. You know, I think you pick whatever you like. You know, if you want to choose Endranced, you go right ahead. If you want to choose Alcade, be my guest. If you want to just have a picture of, I guess, a Chim Chim, I'm trying to think of a character off the bat. Hey, Jacob, how's it going? I hope you have a fantastic day. Welcome, welcome. Alpaca Men are powerful. I'm sure they are, Titan. Yeah, like I said, Line, you go ahead and make whatever picture your profile you like, you know. Like, everyone has a favorite character within this series, and, like, there's no wrong choice, you know? So, like, for me, I think one of my favorite characters in this game, that's gotta be Gaspard. Like, I have a lot of characters that I like about this because the writing is just really good for the individual story arcs. Maybe not so much the story as a whole, but, you know, there is a lot of good arcs to the .GU games. Endranced is one of the one of the perfect emotional character in the game. Oh yeah, absolutely perfect. And the fact that he is a reoccurring character, he's a returning character too. Like, it adds on to kind of the tragedy of Elk, you know? Like, as far as I'm aware, we didn't really see Mia get, you know, taken apart by CyberConnect. You know, like, just imagine the devastation Entrance had to feel just seeing Mia just deconstructed like that and just taken, like, all ripped apart from Maha, you know. Like, and it does explain why he is the way he is at the beginning of GU, you know, he was waiting for the day he could return. Don't bring Mia back. Oh, I'm not saying bring Mia back. Yeah, I'm just saying, like the tragedy that is, you know, I'm saying the tragedy that is Mia's data draining, or not data drain, but just deconstruction was the catalyst for how he is in GU. Like, there was a lot of things like in IMOC that, you know, really added on to Elk's trauma, but I would say, like, it was because of those moments that add on to Entrance as a character, because we know what he went through. We saw firsthand as Kite, you know, like, what Elk went through, and just kind of like his stepping stone towards not moving on in a sense where he should just forget about Mia, but just kind of come to terms with everything that has happened, you know? That's kind of sad, and Ida disguised as Mia in order to get Entrance's trust. Oh, absolutely, because, like, Mia was one of Elk's only friends. Or at least that's kind of the way I interpreted it when I was playing through IMOC. Like, outside of maybe Kite, and I say friend loosely because, well, Elk was kind of jealous of Kite to begin with, you know, like, because he took Mia's attention away from him. But yeah, just for this argument's sake, Elk had no friends, you know, like, no real friends. Like, Mia was his one and only friend that he could confide with, and the fact that she was ripped away from him and how brutal it was, because I don't know if I'm pretty sure at some point Elk realized that Mia wasn't a real person and was, you know, just this, you know, just wandering AI, you know. But, you know, even then, you know, just even that notice, just like, Mia only existed within the world, and when she was gone from the world, he was left with nothing there, you know. He was emotionally, yeah, just an Ida, yeah. Yeah, like, the Ida that attached itself to Entrance, you know, not in a physical sense that happened with Adelaide, but more as part of Mia, the cat, you know, that was around Entrance. Because, God, and just the idea that Ida is still collecting data as part of the Epitaph's process. Because I think I might have mentioned this in one of my previous videos, but I have a theory that Ida is just the fragmented remnants of, you know, Morgana. You know, Morgana created the epitaphs, so it would kind of make sense why Ida, you know, if this were Morgana, would go and, like, still have that same directive to collect the data. Because each of the epitaphs had a particular goal in mind, you know? I think with Maha, their directive was to collect data on love, you know, and I don't know if companionship is the right word, but just kind of like bonds, love, that sort of thing. And the fact that this Ida is doing kind of the same thing, using love as a way to manipulate Entrance, you know, it is very sad to see, you know? And I hope I'm explaining this theory properly. I'm still working out, like, how and why. But considering that Oban even explains that Epitaph needs Ida and Ida needs Epitaph, leads me to believe that they are one in the same in some aspect, you know? You know, Morgana made the Epitaphs, and for whatever reason, she just sort of disappeared. We don't really see what happened with Morgana, or if something did happen, it probably just went over my head. Because I remember, like, she ended up turning Sora into Skaith, and then just sort of disappeared from IMOC. I mean, she was mentioned every now and then, but other than that, she didn't really make any sort of actual appearance. And in my mind, she pretty much got broken when Korbanik, you know, was damaged, you know? Either an entrance in story has said something really relatable. Never love someone. Okay, I don't know about that. I don't think that's a lesson to take from that. But I think entrance in story is about grief and what people do to kind of cope with loss. Because, like I said, entrance had gone through pretty much the entire story of IMOC, you know, bonding with Mia, losing her, and then using GU as a way to kind of, like, keep her close, you know, like, Mia was his only friend, and as such, that is the only thing that he cared about. Until Haseo kind of, like, told him that, you know, like, she's not the only one that needs entrance, and yeah, you can kind of say that entrance is now attached to Haseo the same way he did with Mia, but at least he is now in a much better place, you know? And especially if you read some of the manga, like, about entrance and everything, and you can see that he's doing a lot better offline too, you know? After the events of GU. Like, as far as, if I remember correctly, he was mostly a shut-in up until the end of GU, you know? I think it was because of Haseo's words and just kind of the idea that you know, like, you can grieve for someone, but you need to find a way to cope with that loss and kind of move forward without forgetting, not forgetting about the person, mind you. You know, there's going to be people that's going to make a large impact in your life, but there are plenty of people who, you know, can rely on you too and care for you as well, you know? Like, I don't know how to explain it the best as I can, but I don't think the lesson is never love someone. I think the lesson is that, you know, how do I explain this? Again, I don't think the lesson is never love someone, but you're always gonna have someone that loves you, you know? And, you know, we all go through grief, you know? We all end up losing someone very important in our lives at one point or another. Some of us experience it more, some people experience it less, and, like, some people, you know, need more time to grieve, others never fully recover from that grief, you know? And, you know, when someone's grieving, yeah, we can do the best that we can for them. But it is ultimately up to them to decide, like when to kind of move past the grief, you know? Again, I'm hoping I'm explaining it right. Because this subject with Entrance's story, a lot of subjects in GU are very mature for its time. You really didn't see it all too much. Like with Entrance's grief, Adley's, you know, story of I don't know how much I could say without YouTube and Twitch kind of, you know, bringing down the hammer on me, but let's just say her backstory involving her particular events offline, let's say. And then, like, we see some of that in GU. We see it implied in GU. Both in, like, in pretty much every version of GU, like, it does go into Adley's reasoning as to why she feels a certain way. And, like, she goes through her particular story, but I think with GU's, I guess you could say, abbreviated title of GU being, I believe that the abbreviation GU stands for growing up, you know? Like, I managed to make the dude lecturing on stream. No, hey, don't get me wrong, I don't mean to lecture, you know? I mean, this is kind of what we do here on stream, you know? You guys bring up a topic, I just kind of ramble on about this, that, and everything. And, you know, I just kind of get my thoughts on the situation, you know? I do like the back and forth of what you guys have to say, you know? And that's kind of what makes Dot Hack kind of like a great, you know, story, because it gets us talking about the themes of the characters, the overall narrative, and just kind of how it relates. I think you said this earlier in the stream, how, like, entrance to story, it's relate. Yeah, like, yeah, it has said something relatable. Dude, you really gives good lecture. I do appreciate that. Half the time I think I like mess up a word or two, or perhaps I'm not getting a point across. But I do appreciate you thinking that I'm doing a good job. I just kind of let my thoughts go out there, and I've been, like, I think it also helps that I also do my own personal writing. I do D&D campaigns, some of which I do here on this channel, Dawnbound, you know, with a lot of different people, and just learning from their experiences, both in and out of game, just kind of like the different stories that come from that. You get a whole lot of perspectives into storytelling and what goes into it, you know? Like, there's just so many different stories to tell. There's just so many experiences that have been done to death, but are just as important, you know? Like, if they were to do like another Dot Hack game or any sort of story, I would want them to still have the philosophy of making it about something that let's say, how do I word this? Not only did can't even see. Not only the dude have a good lecture, but he has good advice. Yeah, I mean, I try my best, you know. I mean, I'm not Yada. I don't have all the answers when need be, but you know, if you ask me a question, if it's within my means, I'll try my best to give an answer, you know. And like, and I do hope that like whatever answer I do give, you know, you kind of use it to make your own judgments and opinions, and just kind of go for it, you know. Because hey, you know, who knows? Maybe like the next person I talk to will get inspired to write something fantastic. Maybe the next person gets inspiration to draw like this magnificent piece, and I've seen plenty of people do great things, you know, and just kind of get inspired by the little things like conversation. Like, let me go ahead and say, like, I guess that a good example is like years ago, like I was part of a small community, but just kind of like jumping into a stream. I kind of made my name just a little bit known there. This was before I was a major YouTuber. Well, I mean, I'm not a major YouTuber now, but much more, like probably less than 100 subscribers at the time. And like back then, that community referred to me as let's see, a Kiibu, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Kiibu because that's kind of what I use now. You know, like in all, you know, playful nature. Oh, you know, KeyToDarkness, Kiibu. And then that I got the inspiration to call you guys, you know, in the community, Kiibus. And I'm like, hey, that works, you know, and that's kind of what I mean by inspiration. The small things, like whether it be topics or like names or just kind of anything. Anything has the potential to inspire greatness in others, you know, to inspire something creative to be brought out into the world for others to see. And then it's kind of a chain link, you know, like one person does something, then another people get inspired to do something, and so on and so forth, and then we just have like all this great stuff coming out. And it's kind of like how games are now. Like there are, I will say, I won't go into too negative in terms of the gaming industry, but there's plenty of people that are remaking great stories, but not really taking the time to understand what made those stories great. Whereas there are also just as many games that are being released now that are creating not just new experiences, but it's based off of ones that we grow up, you know, and kind of experience. I want to say like a good example, to an extent, like, I know, like, there's still a bit back and forth between Dot Hack and Sword Art Online, but because Dot Hack it made the impression that it did, there is some dot hack inspiration within something like Sword Art. You can see it in the environmental design, some of the character stories and everything. Now, I do have my thoughts on Sword Art Online. In fact, I actually made a video with my buddy Terra, who is a Sword Art Online fan. You know, he hasn't really experienced too much dot hack, but he has watched a lot of Sword Art, and we got to talking about both series and just kind of our perspectives on it. It's a great video. I do recommend that you go watch that after the stream. And, like, that's kind of what I mean. It's just kind of like, it's just the small things that kind of expand into something else. You know what I mean? Excuse me. Oh wow, I am just. Oh nope, too late. I'm already in the next room. But yeah, yeah, I've been doing a lot of writing for the past. And I've been doing this YouTube stuff for about. Maybe, I want to say 6 years. I have to go back and see when I uploaded my first video, but I'm pretty sure it's like 6 years. And since then, I have definitely grown a lot as a creator and just kind of like a... I would consider myself more of a writer than an artist because I do both in a lot of ways. I do like having visuals for what I'm making, but not so much, you know. I do more writing than I do actual visual art. Another reason why I did recommend checking out Madoka Magica. Here we go. It's a lot of fans of the Dot Hack universe have been gathering to check out the original 12 episode series, actually. So, Titan, I do know that there are some scenes in Madoka Magica that kind of remind people of Dot Hack. I think there are some scenes and just some themes that do end up, you know, kind of making a reference. That's the biggest reason why I did. And honestly, I am glad that you enjoy it. I am really glad you do enjoy Madoka Magica. I'll tell you right now, I tried sitting through the first episode, it just couldn't grip me. You know? Nothing against the series, but I just could not get into Madoka Magica. You know, it's not my cup of tea, but I do appreciate that it exists, you know? And hey, you know, I hope that show ends up inspire you, Titan, to create something similar, or to, like, keep talking, yeah, just, you know, you can keep talking about, you know, what you love, you know? And, you know, like, and there's going to be a lot of fans of a lot of things, and we're not always going to agree on, like, what's good and what's not, and, like, a lot of what I say is subjective. Oh, you're welcome. Hey, no need to thank me, bud. Like I said, like I said before, you're gonna like what you're gonna like, and, like, hey, you have your reasons, and I do like hearing those reasons, you know? And it's just kind of opening that discussion, you know? Like, I don't like Sword Art Online all too often, but I can appreciate that it exists, and a lot of people do have, just good things about it. I feel older than 34 as of late. Oh, come on, Titan. 34, you're still young. You still got plenty of time, you know, to do stuff. I was gonna say how this kind of thing would feel a whole lot easier 15 years ago. Yeah, there's a lot of things that we wish we did when we were younger. Like, maybe, like, when we were, like, young, like, when we were younger, like, we didn't know much. But here's my perspective on that, Titan. Yeah, we can think about what we could do back then, but I think what you should be thinking about is where you are now because of it. And I do hope in your case that you have turned out for the better, you know? Like, whatever happened back then, you know, like, I hope those were the stepping stones to the person that you have become now. But get me started on crossing riders. That wouldn't make it easier. 17. Yeah, well, don't worry, Titan. There's a lot of crossover games that, that if you haven't already, that you're like, I think it's like Project X or something like that. The 3DS games, you know, with, you know, Kite, Haseo, other Capcom characters like Leon and Dante. Like, if you haven't already, go ahead and play that game. I think you would love it. I'm pretty sure Adelaide is also in Project X. I'm pretty sure that's what it was called. Like Project X Zone or something like that. But yeah, like there's a lot of things that, you know, that I'm very appreciative of, you know. Trust me, though I have personal issues, stay following. I shouldn't need to talk about Potter World and the crossover around yeah, that's fair, Titan. What's your favorite Dot Hack GU volume? I would say my favorite volume is volume 2, because I think that feels more complete, at least, like, I want to say sort of conclusion. I mean, technically her story continues within volume 3, but not really. It's more like the resolution of her story. But volume 2 is probably where the meat and potatoes of GU is, and just like the different reveals and like the character interactions, the revelations that come with it. Volume 2 is definitely my favorite Dot Hack GU volume. Though I think a close second would be volume 3. Mostly because I do like the Forest of Pain and the endgame content that's there, and even some of the characters that you can get at the end of that, you know? Just having Kite and the Descendants of Iana in your party at the end of volume 3, it is, like, yeah, I mean, gameplay-wise, they don't feel much different than, like, other party members, but it's just so cool to have, like, okay, we can't have all 3 in the same party, but, you know, 2 of the 3 original party members, and fighting alongside Haseo, technically speaking. Yeah. It does make me feel better to say that, I won't deny, but come on. Yeah, I need to play Last Recode more often, but I'm playing Magia Extra because who more is worth it. World building's worth it, trying to do right by the contractees in the series, and the story worth it. Yeah, hey, and by all means, son, you have fun with that. You know, you get your time's worth. You know, life's too short. Like if you want to spend time, you know, playing that game, then I do encourage that you just have yourself a good time, you know? Like, as long as you're taking care of yourself, you know, you're doing all that good stuff, then I do hope everything is good, you know? Because I have some games that I do play offline as well that I kind of spend regrettably too much time on. I've been playing a lot of Elden Ring Night Rain. Night Rain has definitely caught me back in. Frustrating as hell, but oh boy, I definitely find my way coming back to Elden Ring Night Rain here as of late. When a baby was born, but the doctor is a Dot you. Hang on, I gotta do the proper voice for this as over. Welcome to the world. Yes. Yep. Honestly, look, I would not be too surprised if a doctor actually said it as said those very words to a new child, as like reference to Ovan. Come on, that's just like a perfect opportunity to say it. Dude, that sounds just like the perfect copy of Ovan's voice. You know, funny that you say that. I actually, like, years ago, I tried to do an abridged series of Dot Hack GU, and while I would love to one day go back to it, I know that with my current computer and just kind of how everything is, like, I tried doing the abridged series, it didn't really work out all too well. Not to say that I didn't have fun making it, there was a lot of good people that helped with the project. And I'm kind of rambling at this point, but in that series, I actually did voice Ovan, as well as Haseo. I actually did voice Ovan and Haseo. Yeah, and I can't do Haseo's voice all too often right now, because Haseo's voice is just pretty much my voice, you know? And, yeah. It was fun voicing Ovan. We need more voices going on. Yeah. Well, I mean, I could probably try to continue this voice as we go through this game. Although, I don't know how long I'll be able to hold on to this tone without making myself tired, because, you know, the monotone voice, I can get really sleepy in just talking like this throughout the entire time. I also do some voice acting as well. Not just for my own projects, but I've also voiced Larger and smaller YouTubers, I would think my more prominent role in voice acting was Raubon from Final Fantasy XIV in a nutshell. Honestly, I liked Raubon as as a character in that series. It's just like definitely different presentation-wise than his actual game in Final Fantasy XIV. And I tried to sound like this when I tried to voice Raubon, you know. Very loud, very boisterous, you know. Just get very, very deep in the voice, you know. Just something like this. I've also voiced Cecil Harvey in Opera Omnia dubs. I played Cecil Harvey from Final Fantasy IV, you know. And Opera Omnia dubs. Like, there is this guy that has been dubbing the Opera Omnia story, and luckily, Cecil Harvey is my all-time favorite Final Fantasy character, so I'm just glad that I got to voice him when I did. I still do every now and then, but it's just like, I've done a lot of voice acting within these few years, that's for sure. Like, there's also another voice that I actually do, and because I've voiced plenty of characters in GU Abridged, but there's also one character that I actually do enjoy voicing. I actually do like voicing Gaspard, though I'm not exactly all that great at it sometimes. But oh well, you know, as long as the canard is up and running, and like Bordeaux stays away. Yeah, Gaspard is probably one of my favorite characters to voice, and GU Abridged. Mostly because, I don't know, it's just, like, I feel the character, like, Gaspard is me in a lot of ways. That's kind of, like, how he presents himself. That's very good Gaspard voice acting. Oh, thank you! I do try my best. Though, I can't really, talk as well as the original voice actor. I'm gonna try my best, Haseo. Let's see, what other voices I've acted? I tried voicing Sakaki, but Sakaki is too similar to Ovan's. Sakaki's voice actor is too similar to Ovan's, but imagine Ovan's voice acting, a little bit more aggressive though. And then I've also voiced Eoten. Like, in the very first episode of GU Abridged, he talked more like this, and kind of similar to Lord Frieza in a way, but, not as pretentious. You know, something like that. Let's see. Who was the voice over the years? I'm trying to think. You know, one of the characters that I would have loved to voice, but I know, like, if I did too many of the voices, then I probably would not be giving too many people opportunities to voice. But I've really wanted to voice Gabi. And all he would say is, Gabi, Gabi, Gabi. God. Honestly, if we would have ever gotten to that point, I think I would have had the most fun just voicing Gabi. I don't know, he's just so loud and boisterous. I see him... Like, if there were to be an Abridged episode, just focusing on Gabi. No, I will not be saying that, Titan. No. I will not be saying that. No, YouTube does not like those kind of words. At least, together. I shall not be saying that. Yeah, keep in mind, bud. There are just some things that, cannot be said. Now, granted, this is an 18+ channel, you know, but, you know, I do want to keep YouTube happy, you know, since we're both streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Saying L'Oreal? Isn't there L'Oreal just the shampoo? Would be more appropriate to say by Twitch standards. I mean, isn't L'Oreal just the shampoo, and Magica is just magic? Shampoo magic? Huh. Interesting. What a word combination. Maybe it's Maybelline. I'm sorry, I had to do that. Maybe I should take a drink here. It was an indirect nod to Madoka Magica. You don't have to say Morning Rescue. Oh, okay. Oh, okay, so you were referencing Madoka Magica. Okay, okay. You know, I would say that's more appropriate to say. Like, Morning Rescue doesn't sound as bad as the other one. But, let's see. Let's see, what else? What else have I done over the years? Oh, I've also claimed my quated? I've also quated. I've also created my own .hack TTRPG, you know, regeneration. I spent the last 2 years working on a conversion of GU systems into a long-term campaign format. Everything is in my Discord and in .hack Network's Discord. You can find the documents in the regeneration updates, or in .hack Network server, you can find it under TRPG hack. But yeah, I've created a conversion of GUs, classes, races, and sort of the battle system from Infinite Generation, and made it into its own thing. And I also created... There's going to be 4 classes. Now, I did create 3 initially, 3 new classes. The Chakra Machinist, the Mirror Mimic, and the Fury Polymorpher. But there's also one more class I'm going to add. Just one more. I'm currently adding one more new class to the base game of regeneration. And for some of you who have played through Volume 3, you know which class this is. The Dual Gunner. One word for .hack. Perfect, yes. It is perfect just like Cell. You know, it is perfect, yes. And honestly, I've also been having fun making regeneration and just kind of seeing the reaction to the system. Like, yeah, because we got oh yeah, I didn't even say the 4th class. Yeah, the new class that I'm making for regeneration is the Dual Gunners, you know, the Haseo's X form, as it were. Because at least from what I can understand from .hack GU, Haseo's X form was a class that got removed from the game for being too powerful. And so I decided to bring it back into my system. Maybe not as powerful, of course, but, you know, just the idea of being a mobile gunner class. You know, so the Dual Gunner is going to have all that good stuff. I'm going to leave for a while. I'll be back. Okay, line. I shall see you here soon. Adieu. Avida soir. Oh, no, I messed that up. Au revoir. There we go. That's what I was going to say. Au revoir. And boop, 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 boop. Alright. Honestly, we are almost ready for ads to pop up, and I mean 450 some experience. That's actually not too bad. We are making some great time. Yeah, 453 experience at the start of this. Like, we're definitely making some great time. Like, before we would just be barely scratching 400s, but now we are definitely getting the experience. If Kun was a Power Ranger, would that mean Haseo's the Green Ranger, or is he more like the White or Black Ranger? I would say the thing about the Green Ranger is that he did eventually betray the like. It's been a while since I've seen Power Rangers, so I might not be remembering. I might not be remembering the storyline correctly, but I believe the Green Ranger, Tommy, you know, actually did betray the Power Rangers at some points, but then got redeemed as the White Ranger, you know. And so, sort of, kind of, maybe. I mean, Kun is voiced by John Yon Bosch, who was a Power Ranger, so, I mean, well, we know, he could. And boop. The Ryo Misaki is Tali Oliver. I mean, I don't want to say that he is, but their stories are kind of similar, sort of not. I mean, they do end up becoming an antagonist. Well, I mean, Haseo is a protagonist slash, like, just kind of like a anti-hero, sort of, but then gets redeemed. So, I mean, they do have that same redemption type of thing, where they end up doing a lot of bad things, but ultimately, like, redeeming themselves and, you know, getting some cool powers out of it, you know? I'm paraphrasing this a lot, by the way. I am definitely paraphrasing this. So I would say we do have ads coming up here in about a minute 15. So let's go ahead and get through this floor, and then we're going to go ahead and go on an ad break. Bloop. 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 Yeah, see? Ad break starting soon. 471. Like, as we're ending this first half of the stream. We're not ending the stream, but, you know, ads are coming up here soon. So, we're going to go in here real quick. We're going to get as far as we can. And then we're going to go and break. Actually, you know what? Let's see if we can... Okay, we got 30 seconds. Let's see if we can get through this. Boom. Boom. There we go. There we go. 474. There we go. 474. All right, guys. Time to take a break. We'll be right back after these messages. Alright, we are back with more Don't Hack You. Let's go ahead and continue this game. Let's do it. Excuse me. I am terribly sorry for this incredibly rude burping. You know. What am I kidding? I'm not sorry. No, I'm not sorry for burping. Ooh. Ow, how dare you? Alright. How many chims do we got? 269. Yeah, we can definitely. I definitely need to stock up on more chims. I definitely need to go and get more chims next time we do this. Yeah, I'm gonna have to sit down and kind of farm for sim. So many broken swords. Oh, I missed when these red ones had more experience because they're a much higher level. Boom, boom. Bum, bum, bum. Boom, bum, bum, boom, boom. Bada, 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 bum, 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 bum. Dun, dun. Bum, 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 bum. That's another game I need to finish here for the stream. I need to finish Final Fantasy VII. I've been playing a lot of Crisis Core here as of late, and I forgot how grindy the material system is. All revolving around luck. And there's nothing wrong with the I think it's called DMV, the DMV system. But the fact that every level up that you get revolves around the DMV, yeah, it can be a little bit difficult to level up. Keep in mind, like, I backed up my copy a while ago, and I've been playing it on emulator because there's no way I'm setting through several hours of materia level grinding. So I ended up just playing it on my emulator, just kind of hitting that fast forward button. Saves me a lot of time. I don't know how the remake handles materia grinding. DJ, hey, how's it going, bud? Welcome, welcome. I hope you're having a fantastic night. We are doing more of this level grind. I know it's been a while since we've done this type of stream, but you know, we're now getting back into it, and I do have a plan to continue it. So, I'm probably going to be taking off a week sometime, probably next month, because I need to record a month in advance. But I think we'll go take a week off sometime in March, and then I'm probably going to knock off the rest of the levels within that week, hopefully. So, my idea is that we're not doing Dawnbound next week because it's Valentine's Day. I'll probably still stream then. But, you know, I'll be doing another level up for Valentine's Day. And then we're going to try to get through those final 14 levels. 13, 14 levels there. I am doing pretty good for myself, you know. Things are definitely looking up for me, you know. I've got a wonderful community. You know, the YouTube channel now has memberships, which I'm very happy for. You know, give you guys emotes for the YouTube side of things, you know, and also, like, yeah, I probably should promote, you know, memberships more often, but, you know, it's very similar to, what I like about YouTube's membership versus Twitch's, what's it called, like, subscriptions, is that, like, you can't really set the price of subs. Like, the subs on Twitch are just kind of set in stone, whereas the YouTube side of things, I could go ahead and set the price for the memberships as high or low as I want. And I do like to keep it low so that way you guys can enjoy the emotes. Like MC Milky's actually ended up making a lot of nice emotes for the stream. And for the streams, and so I wanted to give you guys that option, you know, for memberships over there as well. Now that we have it. And then we're so close to monetizing the actual like YouTube channel itself, because that way, if a channel is monetized, we can put ads on it. And YouTube likes to promote videos with ads, which means that we'll get more people in the community. We'll get a lot of, you know, discussion going on, more videos out there for you guys. And I don't know if YouTube is going to be a full, because, let's be real, you know. I don't think YouTube is going to be a replacement for my job, and not in a long time. But I think, like, if this channel does continue to take off in the momentum that it is, I might take more time to make, I might even find more time to make more videos for you guys. Maybe I can, you know, if all goes well both in here and Twitch, I might just switch from full-time to part-time on my job, so that way I can make more videos for you guys, you know, just more live streams, because you guys are awesome. You guys are the reason why we now have 850 subscribers on Twitch, you know. Like, you guys are the reason I continue to do this, because I do enjoy each and every one of you that comes by and says hello, goodbye, hi there. To think that I can. Oh, you referred to the short. To think that I can. Honestly, that was kind of a fun short, because I was just kind of goofing around with Google Translate then. I was wondering, maybe I could do this as a YouTube short. And luckily Jade was able to help us out with voicing Bordeaux. And then just kind of getting those translated in. Can you say, nah, I'd win? Hey, hang on. Can you say, nah, I'd win with a kind of force? Then you were saying the line, to think that I can't something. Okay, hang on, let me see if I can get it. Okay, hang on, Tom. Let me see if I can get that line. So is that how I pronounce it? I kind of used it. It's been a while since I've actually did that short. Did I say it with emphasis? You know. Nah, I'd win is what's so. Okay, so nah, I'd win. To think that I can. There you go, Titan. You know, not my best, but it's definitely something. Well, Claude, I did decide to make another game because I realized my previous ideas was a bit long, a bit too long, and scope of my experience. Since this sound scares, I actually learned a little bit faster. Hey, you know what? If something doesn't work initially, you know, being able to just start from scratch is also a good option. You know, the name of my smaller project is called Caden Academy. Ooh, that is a nice ring to it. You know. That is a really nice ring to it, Jay. So yeah, like, even if your previous idea didn't work out, you could use the experience you gained from that original idea, maybe even pull some ideas from what you already made, and just kind of salvage what you can and see if it works, you know? You don't have to throw out the whole, you know, the whole basket of ideas, you just gotta, you know, pull one from the suggestion box, you know? And yeah, like, ideas come from anywhere, you know? You might even think, oh, wait a minute, this previous idea that I had, maybe it works well with this, you know? Boop, boop. Too many swords. Too many swords, so little time. Now! Nah, I'd win makes more sense if you picture Hack storytelling. I don't know much about Madoka Magica or Jujutsu Kaisen. I've heard of Jujutsu Kaisen, but I've never seen it, so I don't know. I don't know, Titan. I don't know. Oh, and I was gonna say, oh, what would you lose? Before her saying, but to be tried. Nah, I'd win. You know, I'm trying to think. Like, one of the lines that I've actually wanted Ovan to say in the Abridged series is, like, it would have been, like, years. Like, if I would have still done the Abridged series, it would have been the scene where Haseo and Ovan would be, like, Ovan would finally tell Haseo the truth. And Ovan would have been like, something like, I'm trying to remember the actual line that I wrote down, but it's like, so Haseo, you spent all this time seeking the truth. Well, here it is. I'm right here! And then just kind of emphasizing, you know, that I am here because Haseo says, I'm right here, you know, this whole time, and I would have thought that would have been clever at the time. maybe one of these days I'll go back to the Bridge series. Like, when I have much better production, better equipment. I mean, I can do a lot now with what I have, but my first priority right now is actually to get a new computer. I will have some money saved up. I just need to wait for the next shipment to come in so I can actually buy it. Because that way, if I can just get some better... Like, man, PC parts are just gone up so much. It's crazy. So, like, if I could just find some decent parts... I'm not even looking for the best of the best. I'm just looking for, like, I already got the computer I want. And just kind of, just written down so that way I know what to get. But... I'm looking for like a decent decent sticks of RAM, at least 16 gigs, but those have definitely gone up as well. It's just like shoe companies that are trying to do this whole AI craze. But yeah, I definitely need to, like, there's going to be some big things happening for this channel this year. Because this year marks not only CyberConnect's 30th anniversary, but GU's 20th anniversary is this year as well. So, my goal right now for this year is to release the trilogy movie English dub. You know, with hopefully some additional scenes. Not like hand-drawn scenes or any new scenes, but more like an extension of the current ones using GU's FMVs and yeah, like GU's FMVs as a way to help extend the story a bit. So that's my goal right now. Right now, so the progress with that, you know, let me go ahead and give you guys some behind the scenes notice about what's going on with the trilogy movie English dubbing of it. So right now I do have the script, you know, I do have it in Japanese. However, it is in Google. It's just ripped from Google's Translate, I guess you could say, like, to Japanese. So I spent a lot of time trying to translate that into English, and there are some things that still don't make sense considering, you know, I'm using a translator, not Google Translate, but a different translation bot to help with, you know, the conversion. But it still doesn't sound right. So what I'm doing with the current script, I'm on maybe the second or third scene right now with writing the script. I'm also changing the wordage and changing things to not just fit better, like, you know, just sentence-wise and like to make sense of how a character would say it. But I'm also pulling lines from the Heck trilogy or the GU trilogy, like, and how they worded there as part of the script. I highly doubt this AI craze will ever... Oh, sorry, Dan. I'll get to your message in a bit, Dan. I'm so sorry. Let's see. I highly doubt this AI craze will ever grow. Just like NFTs are going to die out eventually, because I don't know... Because I don't know what to say other than people just prefer real thing of a slap. Oh, absolutely. Like, I think with... I think this is a craze. Though, I don't think this is going to be the same thing as NFTs, because NFTs are... different in a way. Like, not everyone knows how it works, and not everyone really has... I mean, technically everyone has access to, like, the cryptocurrency market, and just kind of, like, there's a lot of crypto scams, let me tell you that. But with AI, like, ChatGPT, and Stable Diffusion, there's a lot, and I mean a lot, of people using AI. Like, it is... And it's real easy to use, and I think a lot of companies are trying to take advantage of the new technology regarding AI, and just kind of ruin it for the rest of the world. Now, don't get me wrong, I do agree. There's a lot wrong with AI right now. I don't like the fact that AI art is being stolen from artists. You know, I don't like the fact that, you know, it is causing a lot of issues for like, people who just cause a lot of issues. But, you know, and I do agree with you, Jay. Like, I prefer, like, when it comes to art, granted, I will use AI art for just kind of personal projects, and just kind of, you know, just to kind of see, like, what something would look like, or maybe give my D&D players a visual to go along with the story. However, when it comes to paid projects, like projects that I am doing, like say either like just let's just say for instance, if I want emotes for the channels, I'll hire someone to make art for me, because I do emphasize that support your local artists, because they're gonna do things AI cannot. Also, Mother Mookies needs to know. No, today is not her birthday timing. It was yesterday. Yesterday was her birthday. But I will tell her happy birthday for you. You know, I will let her know that you said happy birthday. You know, it's all right. It's okay. You know, like, hey, we had a good time over at Empty's channel. You know, she got very drunk. You know, she was very giggly. Yeah, man, the people in her community just made her drink a lot then. Oh my goodness. But yeah, we had a good time playing Jackbox, you know. I'm not very good at Jackbox. I mean, I do have some good quips, but not the best. You know, that's there. At least with what I'm given, you know. Like, having, like, that short of a time limit, like, I gotta take my time and think about my answer, man. But, yeah. Yeah, like I said, her birthday was yesterday. We had a good time, you know. Like, she had a good time. Her stream went really well. You know, I could only stay for maybe about an hour, because it was late. By the time I finished my own stream, it was like 10:40, or no, 10:30, 10:40. And so I could only stay for about an hour at that time. I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but AI is no different than any other tool that you use on a daily basis. It really depends on how you use it. Exactly, Jay. That's exactly how I'm feeling about this. Like people, like, there's a lot of people misusing AI right now. Like, stealing other people's artwork, recreating deceased actors, and just kind of, like, puppeteering them. I think that's wrong. I think that part of AI is just wrong. The sword is always as good as the master. Like, exactly. It's just, like, there's a lot of things wrong with how AI is currently used. Me personally, I would love it if there were protections, like image protection for artists, so that way their stuff does not get stolen or redistributed without their knowledge. Or even just, like, make minor edits that just don't really make it transformative enough, you know? Because that, like, it's just a blatant theft I do have a problem with, you know? So that's what I'm always saying, support your local artist, you know? I do believe that, like, with time, it can be a decent tool to use, but it really depends on how the world is going to adapt to it, you know? You can't really fight change, but at the same time, there needs to be a positive change. There needs to be much more efficient ways to be able to use this, and without any sort of just like thievery or like just the disgusting things that people have done with it over the last couple of years. Because AI has been around for maybe, like, the generative AI stuff has been around for maybe like 3-4 years. It was a joke at first, but then now that it has become as advanced in such short amount of time, a lot of people are, like, a lot of it justifiably so, worried about how it's going to impact everything. I mean, we're already seeing the impact and cost of computer parts. Like, I wanted to build my own PC. I mean, I didn't have the money for it, but I would have liked to build my own PC, only to find out that a lot of the parts that used to cost, like, maybe $100 are now gone up to about $400 or $500. Like, I saw a NVIDIA 5080, I believe it was, that was going for maybe about, I don't know, maybe $500-600. Now it's gone up to like $2,000. Like, $2,000 for a graphics card. Now, granted, that was a high-end graphics card, but still, $2,000 for one graphics card, like, that's just ridiculous. And, like, I really don't get why. I mean, even NVIDIA is, at least from what I've seen, I could be wrong, don't quote me on this, but NVIDIA is pulling itself out of the graphics card markets and just focusing on AI now, which I think it's dumb, because NVIDIA is one of the biggest graphic card distributors, you know? So, it's just, It just makes no sense, man. It makes no sense whatsoever. Oh well. But, you know, all things aside, the computer I'm looking at is about 900 bucks. I'm going to get a discount on it because, you know, because through my work, you know, not much, not a big one, but just enough to knock off maybe 60, 70 bucks. But, you know, I'm going to be getting myself at least a $900 PC, you know, that has, you know, some pretty good parts in it. Hopefully it'll last me. All I gotta say about this is that .hack, you were supposed to be a game, you know, all I can say is this. .hack, you were supposed to be a game about the importance of human connection, not a instruction manual for corporations. I don't even want to blame .hack for this, because .hack kind of taught a lot of, like, what could happen in the future, because I don't want to sound like what .hack did here is, you know, going to be one for one what's happening. I don't think there is an ultimate AI at this point that is going to disrupt the system so much that it knocks out the internet. However, we are coming at that point where AI is becoming very intelligent. Like, very intelligent, very fast. And I do worry that, again, I don't want to, you know, I don't want to go ahead and do any sort of doomsday stuff and anything, but considering how fast AI is progressing, I really don't hope we don't have a Pluto's Kiss situation, you know? Like, that's the last thing we need, you know? That's why I'm saying we need to figure out the safeguards for what AI can and can't do. We need to make sure it's not going to cause any sort of major happenings, you know? I mean, like, there was sort of like this Pluto Kiss effect, like, I want to say like a year ago, where, like, all the, airplane terminals just got disconnected, like, the internet just did not work over there, and, I think it was like a Windows issue or something with their last update, where all the computers just sort of stopped working. But, I mean, still, just imagine that, but you know, AI is just shutting down everything. I don't know how. I don't like that at all. And I don't want it to get that bad when it comes to this AI stuff, you know? I mean, look, it's going to happen, like, we're going to have more convenient ways of living, you know? We can't stop technology from evolving, you know? I mean, it's already here. But I don't want it to disrupt any sort of, you know, I don't want it to be, like, just hazardous. That's the word I'm looking for. I don't want it to be hazardous to everything. I don't know, man. I think .hack really did show us, like, yeah, like you said, the human connection, but also just kind of like what would happen, you know? The best outcome that you can hope for is coexistence. Exactly. Like, it is quite possible that we could live in an age where, you know, AI really does help out a lot, and there won't be many issues that, like, it's just going to be normalized in a lot of ways. And I don't know. I really do. I'm sorry, now you got me thinking. Because back when this game came out in 2006, it told a story, like, not just GU, but just kind of .hack as a general. The story of the ultimate AI, a singular AI program that is able to write code, break it down, like, moderate the system on a mass scale, and just kind of develop its own actual code. Not artificial intelligence, but actual developing intelligence. It's just, I think the day that does happen in our real world, it's going to get scary. And it's going to get scary real quick. Honestly, you know, on the one hand, I don't want an IDA situation. I really don't want IDA to become real, and it's scarily similar now. We are scarily walking towards that life, but at the same time, you know, if it means, you know, protection, like if we can protect ourselves better against online threats, scams, that sort of thing, I'm all for it then. You know, if there are ways to keep us safe, you know, the online the people who are using the internet and all that good stuff, you know. I would not be opposed to all that stuff if there were safeguards for it. Ooh, excuse me. I don't know, man. Things are just getting crazy. Things are getting super crazy. Oh, I need a drink. Almost put my drink. That would have been bad. I don't know the idea of topic is very grim, but yeah, it's fascinating at the same time. Yeah, I wasn't trying to make the topic grim, but it is scarily it's getting scary at this point how accurate .hack is getting to the real world. I mean, think about it. When this game came out, it predicted a lot of things. VR headsets that, you know, can go essentially just that you can bring with you, and yeah, you can now have VR headsets. They're not 100% traversable, but it's getting there. I mean, we do have online MMOs that kind of sweep our very, you know, gaming culture. You know, all these different games that rely on the internet now. Everything relies on the internet. There are internet personalities. You know, I mean, just look at me. You know, there we go. Yeah, just kind of like they're like .hack predicted like YouTubers. Just kind of like how. I don't know how to explain, but .hack is becoming very similar to The Simpsons. You know how like a lot of those memes is like, oh, The Simpsons predicted this, The Simpsons predicted that. .hack is predicting a lot of things that are now commonplace within our own society. You're right. Like is it just me that notices this? I don't know. It's just one of these things. I'm trying to think, what else? Like, what else did .hack do that is now a real thing in our world? You know? Now, I'll have to go through, like, all the different tabs again, but I'm pretty sure this game also predicted the chips on credit cards now, like, just kind of like the security chips. Now, granted, I think I heard that Japan already implemented kind of like the security chips by the time this game came out. But now it's commonplace, you know, throughout the entire world, you know, chips on credit cards where you just insert your card, boom, you know, you could just pay for your stuff like that. Or just kind of like, I don't know, man. I mean, .hack is, like, yeah, I mean, it's fiction, but it's just there. Yeah, you're not the only one. But this stuff is wondering what the butterfly would see into the future. I mean, I don't think they saw into the future. I will say, like, they're not, like, clairvoyant or anything. But, like, I think they took a look at what the internet was like at the time and made a lot of good predictions as to where it would go. Like, there's still online forums, I mean, but I would say it's more, like, the forums in GU are eerily similar to something like Reddit, where you have like various topics and then you just, you know, open those up and you have the comic section of that. Let's see. I mean, I would say emails are still around, but it's not as used as often as GU does, I would say. But, I mean, they also have short mail, you know, like text messaging. You know, I mean, granted, you know, this is 2017 and text messaging was still a thing in 2006, but it's more commonplace in 2017 than it was, you know, 2006. Then you have the equivalent of Instagram or Tumblr. Oh, absolutely, yeah, with the, what's it called? Epiku? I think that's what it's called. The place where people go to submit their art and just, like, other small topics. You know, yeah, that's essentially Instagram/Tumblr, you know? Like, and then, like, you've got the entire... And they, yeah, just going back to the whole gaming side of things, like, Like, some of the biggest games are still MMOs, you know, Final Fantasy XIV, World of Warcraft, you know, they're still pretty big games. Well, I mean, they were definitely big in 2017. Hydrate! I shall hydrate here in just 1 second, Jacob. As soon as I, you know, clear this section out. Dun dun dun. Dun 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 dun. Anyway, okay. As soon as I clear this out, I'll take a drink. Alright, there we go. If I can just open this up, there we go. There we go. But yeah, it's just like the .hack series has definitely predicted a lot of things that are now a reality in our time. I just hope they keep away. Let's not have with no Ida, you know, none of that. No Morgana. We could keep Aura. Let's get Aura. You know, Aura can stay. Aura's the best. See, to this day, the world building in .hack is absolutely insane. You could have completely missed it playing the game. But I go, oh, absolutely, like, and it's entirely optional. Like, most people, like, if they're just casually playing through this game the first time, they probably would not even go to check the news or the like the fan art section. And that's another thing. Like, all the art in this game that is submitted, you know, as, you know, regular players, like, it definitely feels, it doesn't feel like professional artists made them. It feels like real people, children even, making these art pieces and just posting them online, you know, for everyone to see. And it's really cool. It brings that immersion, and that's the thing. .hack is immersive to the nth degree, you know. Rehydrating is a good idea. Well, I'm sort of hydrated, not really. I'm drinking Coke and not water, but, you know, it's the only drink I had near me at the time, so that it's part water, you know. Not the best kind of water, but it's water. But yeah, it's just like, you know, there's a lot of things that most people would not even notice the first time playing .hack GU. Like, I will definitely stand by that. Like, even I've missed a lot of things. Like, let's just take the field, for instance. Like, the fields of the .hack games, 9 times out of 10, people are just going to go through the story and the, like, set fields and not even touch the random generated areas. Whereas, I think the random generated areas is one of the best things about the .hack series, because you will get to see enemies that you have never seen before. You get to find items that you didn't even know existed. Lucky animals that only exist in certain areas, you know. Or not area, like, I mean, it's type to level, but you get what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot to miss in .hack that, you know, not a whole lot of people are going to notice, you know? And just like, it is such a shame. Like, as much as I like Last Recode, I think because they made it too easy, they gave people less of an incentive to go to these areas, you know? Because before, on the PS2, like, you would have to go to one of these areas to level grind, get some items, and just interact with the other systems of the game. Whereas Last Recode, for the most part, with some exceptions, you don't have to do that much level grinding. Like, most of the experience that you can get, to an extent, you can just get from just defeating the enemies there, and maybe just go to one of the do one of the side quests in the game. You know, and then that's it. You don't have to worry about leveling all too much. Especially when you also have the level augments, where it gives you like 10% more experience, 20% more experience. You can, like, you will get more experience without doing less, you know? I even talked about it because it's one of the few games that fully immersed me into the world. The only game that ever did this was Watch Dogs. Now, Watch Dogs is a series I have not played, but I have heard mixed things about. You know, it's just like going back to the whole .hack. It's just like the world, no pun intended, is immersive. You know, and honestly, this is just my hope. I know I keep saying this. I'm gonna say it till I'm blue in the face. I really do think that there's going to be a .hack game announced here soon. Like, like I said in my Matsuyama video, like where he's going about talking about a game reveal that the entire world will be excited to see. Come on, the phrase in there is right there. He said, again, it's not verbatim because I don't have the quote in front of me, but it's like, yeah, this is the game that the world is going to be happy to see, or something to that effect. You don't end up saying something like the world and not think .hack, you know? And especially, I know I'm also going to keep saying this, .hack GU. Okay, here's my conspiracy theory. I got a pretty big conspiracy theory. I do think that either there's going to be a GU remake, which is very unlikely because GU still holds up, or we're going to get a Fragment 2. Now, just hear me out. Like, throughout the entirety of 2025, we have gotten art for the GU cast. Like, birthday art for the entire GU cast. .hack GU's birthday is this year, the 20th anniversary. I believe it's sometime in, I want to say May, and the American version, or the global version is September, but still, GU's birthday, like, GU's anniversary, I should say, is this year. I'm just saying, I think it has to do with GU. Look, if I'm wrong, and I'll probably just, you know, kind of just laugh it off, but I do think there's going to be something GU related announced real soon, whether it be through this internal game reveal, you know, at CyberConnect, or maybe during one of the showcases this year. I don't know, but I just get that feeling, you know? The greatest part about the internet and .hack, it doesn't immediately bombard you with a tutorial and let you explore interface free. Yeah, the interface, yes. Like, when it comes to, like, the actual desktop, like, GU does have some hand-holdy moments, like, mostly the beginning area, which it makes sense. You, as Haseo, are learning about the world through Isen, Eoten, and that could be executed. It feels like the actual tutorial, but then Sibyllus Gaspard tells you the same thing that you just learned a few moments ago. It is a bit hand-holdy, I will say about that, but after that, I would say you definitely are free to explore all these things. You know? I mean, MMOs are pretty big right now, so it wouldn't be a far stretch to decide to do an MMO. Yes, that's the thing. I think, now again, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I think what CyberConnect is planning on doing is a .hack GU MMO. Like a Fragment 2 set in .hack GU. That's just my speculation. Think about it. If you want to test the waters of .hack, see how many people would be interested in an actual .hack MMO. I've been going back and forth on this on various streams about what they could possibly be doing. And, like, think of it this way. If you want to introduce .hack to a new modern audience, like a new wave of audience, not just for fans, but just, like, new people, a fragment version, playing as the GU classes, just to test the waters. If it doesn't work, you're not going to lose much. If it's, like, if you reuse a lot of the GU stuff, and just kind of, you know, like the same systems and everything, maybe reinvent the keyword system, because I think they just forgot how to actually make a keyword system, you know? How far are we in this quest? Well, I am about almost 800 experience in this, so we need about 200 more experience. We'll probably be done with this by, I'm gonna say 1040, give or take. We'll probably be able to get to the level at 1040. That's kind of my prediction. Now, if they do decide to make an MMORPG, I'll be the first in line. I'm going to be a Warlock or Edge Punisher. Honestly, I think I would be an Adept Rogue. Mostly so I could test out a couple of the classes at once. Not to mention, job extensions are pretty cool, you know? Like, just the different combinations of weapons and abilities and hopefully class features, you know? It's just, like, in the back of my mind, it just, like, after thinking about it so much, if they, okay, think of it like this. Dot Hack is a very niche series. It is a very small thing. Like, Dot Hack in itself, like, between IMOC, I'm just going to say IMOC and GU for this instance, mostly because, like, most of the world had only received those two games. Those two set of games. Between the two, they sold maybe about 2.5 to 3 million copies. Not a whole lot, but a decent success given the size of the series. If you want to test out to see if there is interest in Dot Hack, you release something small enough, you know, kind of like a small scale MMO, to see if people are interested in it. And then if more people are, then you create a new Dot Hack game using what you've already established as a base. You know what I mean? You test the waters, gameplay-wise, like, and then you, like, once people kind of get a feel of that kind of gameplay, like what you're going for, then they will make a actual Dot Hack game if there's enough interest in it, you know? There's even, like, in what supports this idea that it's something Dot Hack related back in Volume 4. Firos, not in a voice cutscene, I don't think, but in a, what's it called? In a, just kind of like text box dialogue. He mentions that CyberConnect, you know, CC Corp, is working on something big, but, you know, they're not ready to unveil it yet, you know? I can imagine the game playing like, Phantasy Star Online. Maybe. I would say so, but I would like it to play, okay. I would want them to have a few, I want them to be Dot Hack GU. Like, play as Dot Hack GU, but get rid of the barriers, you know, get rid of the barriers first and foremost, because having an online game with the barriers, it'll probably get clunky real fast, especially if they're still going to do the whole island system that this game has. So, get rid of the barriers, make it open field, you know, have it be seamless combat transitions. The best way I can describe it, imagine Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core Reunion. That level of remake, you know, where it is still the game, but there's a lot of gameplay conveniences and changes. Welcome back, Line. We are talking about the future of Dot Hack and what CyberConnect could be releasing in the future. My prediction is that, I know, I don't mean to get people's hopes up, but I think there's something Dot Hack going to be announced. So, here's my reasoning. One, the entirety of 2025, I believe. You know, I have to go back again, but the entire 2025, they kept releasing birthday celebration art for the Dot Hack GU class, or characters, I mean. You know, very nice artwork. Why would they want to do that? Which is kind of strange. I mean, like, the last release of Dot Hack was the Switch version of Last Recode. So, why would they make an art for 2024, 2025? My prediction is they're going to make a Dot Hack game set in the world R2. Whether it be an MMO, I fully believe that it's going to be like a small scale Fragment. It's going to be similar to Fragment, but set in the world R2. Again, this is just prediction. This is not like set in stone. This is just based off of what the context clues we have now, you know? Like, the birthday art from the that's been released the entirety of last year. The fact that GU celebrates its 20th anniversary this year alongside CyberConnect's 30th anniversary. The idea that Matsuyama hinted at a new game that the world is going to enjoy. Those are specific words that he used. Like, he used, not the world, but like something the world, you know, will enjoy. It's just way too coincidental, you know? It's just like, I really do hope something new Dot Hack happens, you know? Because I think now is a good time to, you know? I just hope for the next game we can Regeki key into everything. Regeki. Oh yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, like, just have the Rengeki, like, let us use magic Rengeki. Let magic casters Rengeki, you know? 2 words for your prediction. Hope so. I hope so too, you know? Because I think now would be a good time for a Dot Hack game. And again, I don't mean to give people's hopes up, You know, I've seen a lot of people say, oh, you know, it's never gonna happen, or, you know, you're just, you know, we're just coping at this point. And I am coping, you know, because this is a good series. You know, there's a lot to like about this series and a lot of potential that it could have. Especially now with the technology we have now and the kind of games we're able to create. Like, a lot of these companies can create masterpieces for little to no funding now. And I don't think it's going to cost them a lot to, like, make a decent .hack game. Now, you don't need to go out and get, like, Class A voices or anything. Like, get some fresh faces, you know, get some new talent, new ideas flowing, you know? Not to sound like a downer, but as a long-time .hack under the checklist of Bandai, they're not going to see the light of day anytime soon. Oh, that's understandable. Bandai does hold the rights to the .hack series. But also, I'm also going to keep this in mind. I think, I'll have to find it again, but Bandai said, I want to say like a year ago, that they want other companies to start using their properties to make games, like the IPs that they're own to make games, you know, like license out the properties for that. You know, even if it's not under Bandai specifically, the idea of another company taking .hack and making something, like, I would love to see that happen, you know? And you're right, like, Bandai really does have the shackles, and, like, CyberConnect went out and said, hey, we would love to, but it's not our call, you know? And that's kind of like the mission of this channel. Like, I want to bring this series to people who have never actually got to experience it before, and even for the people that have experienced this through and through, I do like to give different perspectives on the various topics. Like, there's a lot of topics that have yet to be explored within the .hack series, you know? Like, recently, not a whole lot of people knew about how data drain worked, so I ended up releasing a data drain video for iMock. I think it was probably one of my better videos, you know? Excuse me. It so surprised me to this day that CyberConnect is the same company that made it, that made in the Naruto games. One thing for certain, you could tell CyberConnect really wanted to make. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, they keep adding .hack references to all their games. Like Fuga, you could hear some of the sound effects from .hack in that game. You know, even some of the character designs and kind of like references. Like, I believe one of the characters on Fuga is named Hack. Come on, come on. I mean, that's kind of on the nose. Yes, and like, I do know, like, there are other games, like, I think other Fuga games also make references to Aura, to Helba visually, I think from one image that I saw. Like, it is very much possible that, like, CyberConnect really wants to make a .hack game, and maybe they are. Like, I don't want to give anyone's hopes up, but let's be excited for the potential. And then, if it doesn't end up becoming what we think it's going to be, we could just be happy of whatever they plan on releasing, you know? And it's the same fate that happened to the Xenosaga series. They'd be lucky if they were able to pull Xenoblade Chronicles. Exactly. And look, nothing is impossible. Alright? Like, just imagine. Like, I want to give another example. Now, this is not a... I don't think this is a Bandai IP, but Okami. Okami... like, you know, the game Okami, is a masterpiece. It is a work of art, and a lot of people have been asking for a sequel to it. And now, there's going to be a sequel to Okami after, like what, 2 decades, almost, give or take? So, if a game like that, like a well-known, well-received game, can get a sequel, my hope is that .hack definitely gets a similar treatment, you know? Like, we don't want to rule out the impossible. And it's just like, look, hey, if it doesn't happen, you know, you can come to say, oh, you know, like, hey, you know, it was good to think about. It was good to think about. Well, I'm just saying, look, if it doesn't, I'll kick myself and we'll have a laugh of it. But if it does, you know I'm going to be making a video. You know I'm going to be making a video talking about whatever new .hack stuff is going to be happening. You know? Yeah, it's just, like, anything is possible, you know? And, like, we just have to keep showing our support for the Don Heck series. Like it or hate it, you know, I want to hear you guys' comments. You know, I'd love seeing what you have to say about the series, what you like, what you don't like. And it's these discussions or, like, here's the thing. Let me just go ahead and say this. Over the last, like, 5 or 6 years that I've done Dot Hack content, the Dot Hack community has doubled. Like, the amount of people who are finding Dot Hack, learning about the series, and just kind of interacting with the games, the other mediums, has just blown up. Like, when I first started doing Dot Hack content, I think there was, like, maybe 4,000 people in the subreddit, but now it's ballooned to like 16,000. That is no coincidence. Now, I'm not saying that I'm the reason that it blew up, but I think people talking about the series, people are discovering it for the first time, and people are interacting with it, you know? Playing Dot Hack is like watching that 12 episode anime. An absolute masterpiece that was absolutely beautiful from beginning to end, only to realize that they're not going to get another season. And you know, yeah, this is a yeah, that is true line. Yeah, you know, and this is what we do. You know, look, the grind. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. The grind, in itself, is a bit boring. But you guys help make it wonderful. And yeah, this is a speculation stream, you know? But we just have fun with it, you know? I talk to you, you talk to me, you help me distract from the tedium that is this, you know? And that's kind of the interaction. But yeah, it's just kind of like, yeah, Don Hack is just like watching the 12 episode anime. But at the same time, I don't want it to be a Kingdom Hearts where it just kind of balloons into this convoluted mess that is just like a conspiracy board of events. You know, I want a beginning to end, but also a new beginning and a new end, you know? Like for this instance, if there is a new Dot Hack game that is totally separate from everything, I would want them to focus on a new story. You know, that you can still bring back Aura, you can still bring back the world, but have it be with different characters. And if you do want to bring returning characters in, have them play different personas, like Yada, like Wiseman with Yada, like Sora from Haseo, you know, that sort of thing. Don Hack Universe needs a comeback. Yeah, I agree with you, Titan. They do need a comeback. And you guys are part of the solution. I strive to be a part of the solution as well. Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, you guys talking about the series alongside myself, you know, just kind of interacting with the videos, interacting with other YouTubers' videos about Dot Hack, is getting the word out there. People are looking into it, and not everyone's gonna like it. I mean, like, in all seriousness, Dot Hack is it's an okay series with fantastic elements, you know? It's not the best, it's not the worst, but there's a lot to love about it, you know? I have a lot of gripes with the Dot Hack series, but I've grown to appreciate it more, having done so much research on the various topics and making the videos about this game series, this wonderful game series. I would say, like, Dot Hack it's a perfect mess. Like, and what I mean by that is that it is flawed. There are some things that just do not work, but the things that it does do great are fantastic. And that's just kind of how I'm feeling about that, you know? And I do love, you know, just showing you guys all my thoughts and ideas about these subjects. You know, even when some things don't work out, you know, there's a lot of ideas that I've done over the years that don't really do all too well, like you guys don't seem to like, but there's a lot that you guys really love the discussion videos. I have noticed that a lot of you do like it when I just kind of sit down and just talk about a subject or two. And it's very interesting gameplay, but I kind of wish it pushed it further. Not the mechanics are bad or buggy, but the fact that it didn't push it a little bit more in combat. I would say going from IMOC to GU, it is definitely a big evolution. It is a big jump and, you know, presentation and quality, which, you know, you gotta commend them for it. It went from just this kind of like stand in place, press X, to now you're pressing X and then eventually, you know, triggering a skill. And there's, no, again, it is still kind of mindless, and especially in Last Recode where everything is made easier. I should probably make a video about that, how GU was just made easier. I think I did have that as an option, but maybe you guys didn't want to see that at the time. Maybe I'll put it as the next option after the top 5 video I'm making. But, oh yeah, by the way, well, first and foremost, we got ads coming up here in just a few moments. When we get back from the ad break, I'm going to talk more about the poll that I posted. The top 5 party members, because, oh boy, it's going to get interesting. Maybe I can screenshot it and then show you guys just kind of like what I'm seeing here. I mean, it's made public, so it's not like I'm going to be hiding like the results. I mean, it's a public poll, so you guys can see it as well. But when we get back, we're going to go ahead and talk about that. You guys, we're going to be right back after these messages. Alright, we're back with Whoop Down Back to You. Let us continue. Alright. I hope they had a dodge mechanic. Yu Pseudo has a dodge mechanic, but it doesn't come available until Volume 3 with the X4. There's a hint of a dodge system there. You know, where you can just kind of like move around, just, you know, just press B or circle, just kind of like dodge out of the way. You know, it's there. You know, so like if there were to remake GU or like something similar, I hope they do add a dedicated dodge button, because I think that might help a lot. Maybe, you know, I mean, I don't know if it'll help a lot. No, I'm kind of contradicting myself there, but it will definitely add a new element to the game, you know? Like maybe you could just keep yourself from being stun locked and such. You know, if an enemy is coming at you with a skill, you could just dodge out of the way so it doesn't hit you. You know, because a lot of the time when monsters use a skill, they just charge right at you. There's really no dodging it. You either have to guard or just, you know, take the damage. You know, there's really no other option for that. But anyway, like I was saying before. Yes, I actually ended up doing a poll of top 5 party members in .GU, and the results are certainly shocking, to say the least. Well, I mean, it's been going back and forth. I'll show it at the end of the grinding portion of the stream, but, of course, like, number 1, like, okay, so the number 1 for the last, God, like 7 hours that the poll has been going live. I mean, take a guess, if you haven't already. Like, who was the number 1 pick? Like, who do you guys think the number 1 pick for the best .GU party member is? You know, I'll give you a hint. It's one of the 2 Harvest Clerics. You know, I mean, could it be Shino, or could it be the Cinnamon Roll? You know, Adley. You know, it could be one of the 2. You know, like one of those 2 characters is number 1 right now. Which, honestly, it's to be expected, you know? Like I know I'm now skirting around it right now, but yeah, Adley's number 1. Like, a lot of people like Adley. You know, she gets the most character development out of all the characters in GU. She is one of the only Harvest Clerics that you get up until, like, the very, very end of Redemption. And, like, she is just she's very helpful both, you know, in story and in combat. And just like, I can understand why people would have chose her to be number 1. However, I took a look at the list, and the last, like, the person with the least amount of points is Azure Orca. Azure Orca is not very liked, apparently. Now, I can understand, look, the Azure Knights don't really have much of a personality. Like, they're just husks of who they were. They're not even the players. They are just kind of like these, you know, hollowed out, you know, just remnants of the characters that we know and love. But it's just so funny to me that Orca ended up getting last. You know, Balmond got a little bit higher, and definitely Azure Kite. People do love Azure Kite. But Orca, like, what does Orca do? Like, Orca and Balmond both, you know? Like, they're introduced into the story in Volume 2, and then they just... There's just not much there, you know? They're just there with Kite. Oh, oops. I went the wrong way, I think. Beans, I went the wrong way. Okay. I found them funny, especially Tri-Edge. All he does is float around very menacingly. How is Burst laughing every time he performs an animation? You know what's funny to me? Like, yeah, you got Azure Kite, Azure Ballman, and Azure Orca. They appear just menacing, but very, you know, just very zombie-like. And then all of a sudden in combat, they're saying their combat lines from IMOC, just normally, you know. I don't know if Kite says staccato, but yeah, Orca and Balmond say their regular combat lines and then just go back to being silent. It's hilarious to me. It's just like Orca is just dead last, you know. Just like, out of all the characters Like, there's just so many Blade Brandiers in .hack GU. And, yeah, Orca is a Blade Master, but in this game, it's Blade Brandier. We've got so many Blade Brandiers, and he doesn't even do anything special. I mean, Entrance has the highest physical attack of any character. Like, most characters, even, like, those with a strength specialization, have at most 120 physical attack. Entrance has 151 physical attack for a Blade Brandier. That is crazy to me. Makes me wonder what would have happened if Haseo had Tri-Edge as an ally the whole time. That is a good question. I don't know how it would work per se. Because like I said, the Azure Knights don't really have a personality. You know, it's not, they don't really have the personalities of their former hosts, although in the emo exchanges, you can see that they still retain their likes and dislikes, just very hollowed out and single word responses. But it's just kind of like, how would that work? Because Kite doesn't really talk outside of just, you know, grunts and even some battle phrases, you know? It's just, I like the trio, don't get me wrong. Their character designs are just so awesome. Like a corrupted version of these powerful characters. But in-game, they don't do anything that special. Like, as bosses, heck yeah. Yeah, they're pretty tough. But as party members, they really don't do anything special. In fact, I believe Azure Kite uses the Twin Blade, like, GU Twin Blade abilities. He doesn't even use Staccato or Tiger Claws or any of that. No, he uses the regular Twin Blade abilities that we've seen time and time again. Which, it's kind of a missed opportunity, you know? I get, like, hey, they're end game party members. You know, you get them at the very end, it probably doesn't matter at that point. But still, I would love to see, like, a custom moveset for the Azure trio, you know? Heck, maybe even allow those party members to use Data Drain to reduce the enemies to level 1, and then you benefit off of that, you know? Like, you receive the Protect Break, and then Kite's Data Drains them. And then, honestly, that would have been so cool to see in GU. Like, we won't be able to control Data Drain, but when Kite actually does it, you know, and to help Haseo, that would have been just so, like, the icing on the cake, you know? Like, we, as the player, would get to see, like, the party member use Data Drain. Like, oh my god, that would have been so awesome. But then you remember the combat is so easy and you barely, yeah. I would say there's a handful of battles that actually are a challenge, but 9 times out of 10, yeah. Look, last recode GU is easy as anything, especially when you have cheat mode. Honestly, I can understand why they added cheat mode, but not really. Like, if the game was very difficult and they added cheat mode as a way to supplement it, like cheat mode's essentially a story mode, you know, like you get all the best stuff and then you just, you know, enjoy the story. But .hack GU is pretty easy for the most part. There are some bosses that are just, hey, we leveled up! Woo, let's go! We're level 36 now. Woo! Even on normal, it's not that hard. Yeah, exactly, because they've made so many conveniences that kind of take away from the difficulty, you know? And don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the faster movement speed. I do enjoy the fluidity combat over the PS2 version, but at the same time, they should have just kept the experience game the same, because you get EXP augments to help out with EXP gains, you know, and now there's really no need for them, you know? I mean, it's not even like Volume 4 was any different, because they just took away so many things, and Volume 4 was just kind of like a side story that tried to tie a lot of things together, but not really, because it contradicted a lot of what the trio of games had to say about, you know, the stuff, but that's neither here or there, you know? And then boom! There we go, the last battle for the night. Starting off with 14 experience next time. Let's use our return feather. I definitely needed to get more return feathers. We used about maybe 30, 33. Ugh. Alright, let's go ahead and pop a save. There we go. We'll go ahead and edit all the... Here we go. Okay, here we go. So let me go ahead and get my calculator. We'll go ahead and do all these changes here. Alright, so for the time that we have... Let's see here. Thank you. Here, this is the time. So our time that we have is, in fact, 62 hours. Oh, come on. 18 minutes. And 6 seconds. Most... Oh, and then 6 seconds. Most people would have been finished by GU by now. Like the entirety of GU, not just one or the other. Experience needed. Let's take a look at that. Experience needed. Let's see. Oh. To be honest, Volume 4 just needed a glorified epilogue. I'd have fun with the special attacks, but that's about it. Not to mention having one of the easiest Avatar fights in the series. Oh, absolutely. It was definitely easy, but it was definitely a spectacle, that's for sure. Okay, so we need about 13,984, if I'm doing this right. No, not that. Let's see. 13,000. No, 86. Oh. Did I do that? Okay, so it's starting 14. Yeah. So we need 13,986 more experience to complete the challenge. And now for the actual battle portion of that. So, I forgot how I did the calculation for this. But I believe it was that because we divide the experience we need, 986, divided by 3 experience, because that, 3 experience per battle. So we need about 4,662 more battles. Alright, so this is the final oh, I caused out of that. Nope. Alright. So this is the final tally for everything. So we're 62 hours into this challenge. We need about 13,986 more experience. And we need 4,662 more battles in order to complete the challenge. We're getting so close to sub 10,000. And so we're going to try to push through this for the next couple months. We're going to try to push through all of this stuff. But that's neither here or there. This is, in fact, where we are going to go ahead and call for the night. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that follow button. It's absolutely free. You can also hit that subscribe button if you're on the YouTube side of things. It's very helpful if you do. I do appreciate it. You can also head to our Discord, which I'll go ahead and post to the link here. Discord, You can also head to our Discord if you want to be notified as to when we go live. Yeah, good night, Jay. Good night, Titan. Good night, Line. Good seeing you here. Yeah, you guys can head to our Discord if you want to be notified as to when we go live. You get to participate in polls such as Free Stream Friday, where you get to pick a game for me to choose out of a selection that's there. Also, some of you already know, but I'm a .hack YouTuber. I do .hack topics for .hack people, and yes, we do variety streams. But yes, friends, this is in fact where we're going to end it for the night. I hope all of you stay classy, stay beautiful, but most importantly, have yourselves a good night.